Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Tonight I'm going to tie a midnight blue Mayfly nymph. This doesn't really represent any particular nymph, but it's going to give you a nice silhouette and of a nymph. I have a size 14, 2 extra long nymph hook, and I have these glass beads. Give nice bluish. Some of them are even like a rainbowish color there. You can see when they move around, they're gonna be changing colors there a little bit. Nice color there. I'm going to, before we start wrapping, I'm going to use a little bit of weight, 15 thousandths lead-free wire. I'm going to put this only on the thorax area. So I'm going to start just about halfway, maybe a little bit forward. I'm going to wrap that up to the bead. We're going to break that off. Break off the back section. I'm going to use my fingernail. And now I'm going to push that up into the bead. Move that bead a little bit just to help it get in there. And I got the weight mostly on the thorax. I'm going to use black thread. I have Viva 16-aught thread here. Your 8-aught will be fine. I'm going to start the thread behind the lead wraps and push them lead wraps into the bead. And we're going to bring this back to the bend of the hook. Hold your thread at that 45-degree angle and it will push the wraps right in place. For the tail, I have this is an Indian hackle that I found, and you can see it's kind of grayish to silver on the edges and black in the center. Use that for the tail. Going to take them and stand them up at the 90-degree there, and then I'm going to grab a section line up those tips right there. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that black sticking out. Got a nice long tail on this. And we're going to secure that. And wrap down all those fibers there. For the abdomen, I'm going to use Superfine black dubbing because I want this to be a nice skinny abdomen. Just taking a little bit out and make a skinny noodle. Superfine, you can make some really nice skinny noodles. Have it a little bit tapered here, a little bit heavier on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that. I'm going to take just a small pinch more. I just want to extend that just another wrap or two. Now for our wing case, I'm going to use a piece of blue tinsel. It's got gold on one side and blue on the other. This is a size 12. Going to tie this in. Get that right on top. Start a little bit to your side and it will roll right up on top. I'm looking at the gold side, and when I flip it over, I'm going to see the blue side. For the thorax, I'm going to use a black ostrich herl. I'm going to tie this in by the tip. And we're going to take that ostrich herl and wrap that. I'm going to wrap that whole ostrich herl. It's going to give it a nice wide thorax look and put a little liveliness in there. Ostrich herl moves very well in the water. Just going to stroke the ostrich herl toward the rear as I'm going. And we're going to tie that off. Put a couple of wraps in front to lock it in. And I'm going to trim off the excess. For the legs, I'm going to take another of the Indian hackle feathers that I have. That's black center. And I'm going to stand up the ends there, and I'm going to trim it and give it that crew cut. With a feather so small, it's a good idea to give it that crew cut so it doesn't pull out on you. And I'm going to wrap that . And I try to stroke it towards the rear there a bit as you're going. And we're going to tie that off. And I'm going to nip off the tip of that feather. Now we're going to take our wing case and we're going to fold that over. And we're going to tie that in. Go ahead and trim that off. I'm going to take just a small pinch of the dubbing once again. Just enough to hide the thread behind that bead. Take the whip finisher. Tighten that up. Put a little drop of head cement on there. Just let it roll down that bead. And here we have a midnight blue Mayfly nymph. Got a nice little piece of blue flash on there, a nice bluish bead, nice full legs, slim abdomen, full thorax. And I hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much.